first thing I want to start off with today, for today's soul chat, is this idea that came through to me that really helped me to expand my way of thinking, to open up and release my limitations, and to allow myself to be open to any and all ways that guidance, messages, information, impact is going to come through me. And it's a simple concept and simple words that you intellectually understand, and sometimes we don't live by the words that we may intellectually understand. Ask me how I know. So it's this whole idea of, do I have to be a poet to write poems? Do I have to be a singer to sing songs? Do we have to be authors to write a book? And the list could go on and on with all the different things that we put certain labels and titles on. And it's that thinking and that way of following keeps us limited, because it creates barriers as if we have to arrive. We have to arrive at a thing in order to then do the thing. um, I just want to use this time to help expand you, to expand myself, because coming live and sharing and doing these soul chats and sharing this format in these different ways is also a way for me to meet myself and my greatness, for me to be a mirror to invite you into your greatness. Also, this is a way for me to stretch myself. And in the process of stretching, it's an invitation for you to stretch yourself, because when we can see more of this kind of thing, it can help to give us permission to be more of ourselves and have more of an impact on the world. And so today, where I'm stretching is from that exact concept of, I have to be a poet to write poems. And I'm going to give you a little backstory why this is so impactful for me right now. And also to dive a little bit more into how I said, sometimes we understand things intellectually and we don't actually like integrate it into our life, or we're not living by it, is because, of course, I know that you don't have to be a speaker to speak. You don't have to be, a singer to sing. Like, we can do all these things. And at the same time, for so much of my experience in my business and the way I show up, and I'm going to use all the titles because I've used all these titles along the way. So the way I've shown up as a speaker, author, coach, expert, guide, Akashic Records guide, influencer, I don't know, all these different things, these titles that we use in life. Also, too, for me, I've had strong expectations of how I've wanted information to come through me, because it's like, okay, well, if I want to be a speaker, then I have to speak. Or if I want to be an author, I have to write. Like, those things are true. And at the same time, depending on like where you're at in the journey, they can be limiting. And I'm sharing how they were limiting for me, because now that I have said yes to being an Akashic Records guide, a channeler of the energy of other people's souls, and to be able to be that guide to help bring people back home to themselves, help people to own their power, to trust themselves, to trust their intuition. What I've learned in this process is that my job as a channel, my job in that experience, is to allow whatever to flow through me, and to be like, something that my husband Jay says is, he's like, if you were given a letter to deliver to somebody, you don't open the letter, figure out what it means, try to whatever. Like, you literally like deliver the letter. Like, it's not for you to open and look at. Like, that's it. And so for those of us who are, because I know that, I know for a fact that a large percentage of you who watch my videos and who follow me are also channelers, intuitives, and Akashic record guides. I've had you reach out to me privately in different ways. And so I want to be someone who is willing to lean into the places that scare me, so that it gives you permission to express in your fullest. And so going back to the whole idea of these different titles and these different things and the way they impact us is that for me, wanting information, wanting to be like my ego gets in the way. Our ego gets in the way and keeps us from like really expressing fully because it's like, oh, but I want to make sure that people understand I'm an expert. I want people to know what it is. And, if I'm over here doing this other thing that I don't find valuable, how on earth are people going to take me seriously if I'm over here doing this? And now I'm spread too thin. Like the mind, my mind, and lots of people's minds make up all kinds of different rules and beliefs and ideas and things like that. And so the one I'm going to share today is from the place of I don't have to be a poet to write poems because this for me is a really big deal. I've not expressed in the form of poetry outside of whatever was required in school to write a haiku or whatever. I've not expressed in that way, and especially not live. um, Let me caveat here. I have had poems come through as I've channeled different messages from the Akashic Records or with clients, or I've had different ways in which the information has come through for people. And what I'm going to share today is a poem that I received for my soul. So I wasn't in like the higher self, my soul. I wasn't in the Akashic Records for this. And this is where I'm saying like this is an edge for me to lean in and share in such a public way a poem that I feel like it just feels like it's something that needs to be shared. And previous versions of me would have not allowed that to happen because I would have wanted the poem to be perfect. Or I would have like, oh, but is this like I'm not a poet, like we diminish ourselves. Like I'm not a poet. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm like what would life look like if we were willing to trust ourselves even more? What would life look like if we were willing to believe something different about ourselves and to allow ourselves to meet ourselves in our greatness and in our power and in our confidence and in our truth and to really own that and to really stand tall in that? Like, what would life look like if you operated from that place and that space? To where when, as an example using mine, a poem comes through you, you can own that that poem is the best freaking poem that's ever come through because you know that it has a purpose, it has a meaning, and it's important, and you have the ability to share poems without being a poet or to sing without being a singer. All right, let's dive in. Who am I? Well, I am nobody and I am everybody. The wind and the stars, the moon and the sky, the light and the dark. I am the wind and the tree, as well as the leaves dancing with the wind. I am everywhere and I am nowhere. I am all that is and all that isn't. I'm omnipresent, and most importantly, I am me. In this body and in this experience, each and every day presents a new moment to experience the deepest, most expansive love and experiences available. Yet the question still remains: why be present to witness, to receive, to allow, to let go? Will I? It is my journey and mine alone to navigate and decide. With each and every inhale, I'm grateful that there's an exhale. What decisions and choices will I make? What path will I take? In the dance with the universe and oneness, Will my partner be my mind or my heart or perhaps my soul? For I am nobody and I am everybody. This is probably the fifth time that I've shared that poem. A couple times with friends, and this first time here in this more public live video format. And each time I share it, I can feel the emotion and the energy and the invitation behind it. I can feel the impact. I can feel, I know deep down that at least one person who connects with this, that poem that I just shared, hits so deeply, hits deeply, and it calls you into your own power. I just know it. I feel like I know this in the deepest part of me. And I feel like there's also a group of you who are watching this and you feel a bit of an activation, you feel a connection, and maybe it doesn't bloom quite yet. And that's okay, because with this poem and me sharing this poem in this way, what I love about this experience and leaning into my edges and sharing a piece of me that's very intimate, that poem was channeled from my soul and my higher self, to share that in such a public way like this. It's like it shifts the whole experience for me to where it doesn't matter if you liked it or you didn't like it. It doesn't matter if it made sense now or later. What this feels like in me coming on here and sharing this today and being here, what this feels like to me is it feels like this message needs to get out and it needs to be shared to have the impact on those who need to hear this message today. And while there's a moment of today, there's a todayness in the today, in the moment in which this is being recorded. There's also today, that from this exact moment in time that is in the future, that is then your today, because your today is the day in which you are interacting with this. Well, I did record it live and I'm recording it live right now. There is a today at any given moment that I know that someone is going to connect with this on your today. And I'm speaking to you, you're going to connect to this on your today. And this is going to be the thing that makes the impact for you. As we close up today's soul chat, I would like to invite you into your greatness. I mean, it's a big invitation, I know. And sometimes the steps that we can take into our own greatness are the smallest steps that make the biggest impact. And so here's what I'd like to invite you in today. And I feel this very strongly right now, is I feel very emotional as I share this with you, is how can you connect into your heart space? How can you connect into this heart space and bring yourself into the presence of your heart space? To give yourself a moment or a set of moments of silence and connection with this. To be able to be able to come into this space to create from this space. This, I'm going to, part of me is going to trust that you can feel this energy that's flowing through me right now. And the other part of me is going to trust that if you can't, perfectly okay. This is more about the invitation for you to practice being in the present moment, to being in presence. And one of the ways that you can do that is through connecting into your heart space and coming into this space here. We spend so much time in the space up here in our heads, deciding, navigating, overthinking, over strategizing, all the things. Not everybody, but a lot of the people I work with, we can tend to be up here a little bit more. And so one of the ways that I'd like to invite you moving forward is how can you drop into your heart and come into the heart space and allow yourself to feel the presence of your own existence, of your own heart, of your own beingness. Yeah. You know, thing that's taught a lot is in marketing and doing these kind of things is having a strong call to action. And right now, I feel like I've already given that to you through that, what I invited you to do with the presence. And one of the things that I've been wanting to practice is how do I more clearly articulate the work that I do in the world to then invite you to take the next step to potentially work with me or come into my world or come into a program. And right now, I'm going to honor the fact that it doesn't really need to be said in this exact moment because you literally had the invitation this entire video to be able to connect and feel my energy, to be able to be in an experience here together, to be able to witness yourself through this experience, to be able to just just be. I don't really have the full words, but I feel like you've already had that. And so if you want to explore more, I feel like at this point most people know how to do this stuff. Like reach out to me, follow me, all the crap. You know all that stuff. I'm here. I'm here when you're ready. And I look forward to our next soul chat. See you soon.